Thank you, guys. Thank you. This is really nice. I appreciate you having your dinner right in front of me. Oh, bon appetit. You're just taping my special here. They're having wings. It's a pretty casual, big moment for me. Apparently, big moment for them too. Well, I'm happy to be here. This is awesome. Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Thank you, guys. Very good times, man. My daughter just turned 6. My daughter, thank you. We had a water birth. You guys know what that is? A water birth? Yeah, it's when your baby comes out looking like Nirvana's album cover. Yeah, if you don't get it, never mind. It's really cool. It was me, the doula, the midwife, and my full wife. Take your time with that joke. Do you guys know what a doula is? A doula? Doula's a birthing coach. So she'd say things to my wife like, you could do this, you've done this before. You know, all the things I tell myself when I'm texting and driving, you know? And she was really cool, man. She was like, hey, would you like me to play you some music? I said, hell yeah, DJ Doula. And she played this soothing rainforest sound, and it worked. Baby came out, I started crying, my wife started crying, and then the placenta came out. Yeah, and we stopped crying. And she said, hey, would you like to take the placenta home with you? I was like, you know what? We were thinking of taking the baby. Like, what do you want me to do with the placenta? And she said, you can eat the placenta. Yeah, it's very rich in vitamins. I'm like, okay. Or I could just take vitamins. She said, I'm not kidding. You could chop it into little pieces and throw it inside a smoothie. I know, I had the exact same reaction, because I was thinking more like fajitas, you know, tacos, guacamole, cilantro. So now it's still in the freezer. No, not the placenta, the baby. And I'm not gonna lie to you guys, like back then I really wanted to taste it. Like I was really curious, but I was scared. I was very scared. Like, what if I love placenta? Like once I'm done eating the placenta, I need to find another placenta. I can't just walk into maternity ward and be like, hey, you done with that? Well, bon appetit, you know? So I am of Polish and Peruvian descent. My wife is Japanese Egyptian. Crazy, right? And we have 2 kids, and they look like, wow, like reptilians. I'm not kidding, I spilled some hot tea on my son's hand. He did not even flinch. Like, you okay, buddy? He's like, I'm fine, Papa. No, they're cute. They're very cute. They're really cute. I was in a restaurant. I was sitting next to my son. A gorgeous waitress came up to us. She's like, oh my God, what a cutie. Tell him to give me a call in 20 years. I said, lady, 20 years from now, he's going to look exactly like me. So why don't I just give you my number? She laughed. I laughed. And I went back home and I processed what she said, and it's disturbing, but she got away with it because she's a woman, right? Because you'll never see a guy go up to a baby girl and be like, hey, sorry, give me a ring-a-ding-ding. No, that is creepy. We live in New York City, and it's tough, man. It's so expensive having kids in New York City. Daycare is actually the cost of rent. Yeah, so we're thinking next year, instead of putting our kid back in daycare, we'll just get him his own apartment. Yeah? I would hate dropping off my son in daycare because I would always bump into this very competitive dad who was convinced his kid's a genius. I remember once in front of all the parents, he said, I just taught my 3-year-old to count up to 10 in Spanish. Why don't you go ahead, Kevin? And the kid just like fired out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And right on cue, my son sees me and goes, Yeah, well, my son knows Morse code. I feel sorry for your stupid baby. Pero mi hijo's a genius. You know, having 2 kids in New York City, man, it ain't easy. You know what it feels like? It feels like waking up every morning with a hangover. Like your head's pounding, you're dehydrated, you start praying to God, I promise I'll never do this again. My neighbor George has 4 kids. 4 kids. He doesn't get like hangovers, he gets blackouts. I asked him, hey, how was your trip with your family to Canada? And he answered, I don't remember. And his wife wants a 5th one. She's insane. She's like this crazy drinking buddy. Like, come on, one more. Don't be a pansy. I'm like, George had enough. You know? It's hard being a good dad. You know? Not everyone can be a good dad. Buddha couldn't do it. Buddha couldn't do it. Not a lot of people know this, but Buddha had a wife and a kid. I'm not kidding, historically speaking. And he left them for happiness. You know what? He didn't even leave him for happiness. He left them in pursuit of happiness. That happiness was not even guaranteed. His wife must have asked, is it another woman? Like, nah, it's a tree. You're just gonna sit underneath it for 49 days. I don't care if my bones collapse, if I starve to death, but seems like a better option than staying with you two. My dad was an amazing dad. My dad would drive us to school every day for 12 years, every day. Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I tell my kids, you know what, guys, there's no school today. And they go, yay, is it a holiday? I'm like, nah, Papa's depressed. I forgot once to pack my daughter's lunch on the first day of pre-K. Yeah, teacher made me feel awful. She said, you know, your daughter had no food today. I'm like, I know, okay? She was intermittent fasting. I don't know what kind of losers you're teaching, but I am training a warrior. I've been married for 15 years. Crazy, right? Well, you don't know the nature of our relationship, so weird thing to clap at. Marriage is weird when you think about it, like the act of marriage. Because before getting married, you get a marriage license. And that's something no one will ever ask to see you get. You know? Like if you get in a fight with your spouse, you'll never have a cop knock on your door and go, marriage license and registration. 2 weeks later, your friend's like, yo, what happened to you and Linda? You're like, my marriage license got suspended. Had an MUI, is married under the influence. My wife is Muslim. Okay, that got weird. She's not burqa Muslim, she's more like Forever 21 Muslim. And she's pretty tall. She's like 5'7", 5'8", you know? I can never be with a woman who's my height or taller. Because this is gonna sound very misogynistic, but I wouldn't want her to be my equal. You know what I mean? Like, if you're my lady, I want to know that I can protect you. But if you're my height or taller, protection is no longer guaranteed. Like, if you're my shorty, we're about to get mugged, like, step aside, I got this. But if you're my height, I'm sorry, but now we're a team. You hold him, I punch him, you take the guy on the right, I take the guy on the left. If you are wearing heels, you've upgraded to fighter. And if you're taller than me, then I'm just gonna step aside. Okay, you take him down, and I take a video. Yeah. I know most of you thought that joke was gonna be misogynistic, but it's actually self-deprecating and pro-feminist. So you're welcome. Thank you. And my wife called me the other day. She said, "Danny, I just got into a car accident. Please don't be mad." I said, "Oh my God. How is the Volvo?" And she said, "I just told you I got into a car accident, you jerk." I'm like, "Yeah, but you're calling me. You know, like, we're having a conversation, you're fine." Like, if you called me and I heard sirens in the background and you were like, please, I'm like, I freak out. But if you call me and I hear Dua Lipa in the background, how's the Volvo, right? Plus, she ended her sentence with, "Please don't be mad," which means she is responsible. If you wake up from surgery and the doctor said, "We just completed your facelift, Please don't be mad. No, she didn't scare me this time. You know when she scared me? I was home with the kids and I get a bunch of text messages. And she says, Danny, the subway stopped. There's cops everywhere. I don't know what's going on. I'm really scared. I love you. So I called her immediately. She didn't pick up. I called her 17 times. Went straight to voicemail. So I did something I hadn't done forever. I got down on my knees and I started praying. 20 minutes later, I get a text message from my wife saying, Danny, I'm walking by Dino's. Do you want me to pick up a few slices? And I couldn't believe that God answered my pizza prayers. No, I got upset. I got upset. She shows up with a box of Dino's. You know, so I got very vindictive. The other night after a show, I texted her. I said, hey, I just walked into a bar. I bumped into my ex. She's tipsy. She's hitting on me. I'm scared. I love you. She calls me immediately. I don't pick up. Papa. Papa. She calls me again. Silent. Papacito. Then she texts me in caps, Danny, please pick up a few slices from Dino's on the way back in. That's why I married her, you know? Kids are getting older, so it's cool. Like, we're starting to go out on dates again. And we went to this opening of a very pretentious art gallery in New York. And we were surrounded by filthy rich people, like filthy rich. Nothing like this audience. And I noticed something. I noticed that truly wealthy people have no concept of time. I asked a woman when she met her husband, and she said, it was some time between Prague and Milan. I said, okay, but when was that? She said, it was before Dubai, but after Bucharest, yes. I was like, was there a specific year? She said, I didn't recall the year, but I do remember climbing the hills of Machu Picchu. And having a ritual with a scarlet macaw. And then she asked me when I met my wife. I said, well, it was sometime between Newark and Milwaukee. I don't recall the year, but I do remember having a coupon for 2 free cafes at a gas station. We're no longer friends. Met some weird people at that event. I met a plastic surgeon. I'd never met a plastic surgeon before, and he was completely intoxicated. And I asked him, hey, would you mind fixing a little something for me? And without skipping a beat, he said, dude, I can totally reduce the visual impact of your forehead. Okay, you guys are laughing a little too much at that. And I said, I was gonna ask you about a scar on my finger, but now I gotta worry about the scar on my heart. It's just the words that he used, the visual impact. Like, is this forehead causing traffic, you know? And I don't mind constructive criticism. I'm a comedian, but reconstructive criticism, it's hurtful. A lot of couples tonight, huh? That's amazing. No. How your sister? That's brave. I'd go as far as my cousin, but nah. That's where I draw the line. You guys? Cousins. Oh! That's brave. I would go as far as second-degree cousin. You guys are married for sure? Yeah? I feel the married vibes. He's got a scotch. Only a married man will have a scotch. Oh, it's your dad? What kind of show is this? Well, that's very brave. Anyone dating here are not related? Tell me you're not related. Tell me. Oh, you're married. Okay. But you were strangers prior to meeting, correct? Just asking. Do you love him? I didn't ask you, I asked her. You love him? You truly love him? You know why I ask that? I ask that because I don't think it's possible to truly love someone in a relationship. I think there's glimpses of true love that we all experience. But generally speaking, I think we're too selfish to truly love someone. And I say this because a teacher once gave me the most beautiful definition of love I've ever heard. He said, true love is the ability to wish nothing but your partner's happiness. I was like, wow. Do you agree? Disagree?
I would agree.
Yeah? So what would you say if it would make your man like truly happy to have a bunch of girlfriends? Just like as many girlfriends as he wanted. It would just make him truly happy. Just like, but truly happy. Like, would you be okay with it, realistically speaking?
No.
Of course not. Of course not, because you don't truly love him. You wish his happiness as long as it suits your needs. And that's called conditional love. Sorry you had to find that out tonight. Did you ever miss being single? Never? I don't buy that for a second. Guys are full of it. Do you know that a man lies on average 29 times a day? 29 times a day. And that's not even true. I just made that up. It's interesting, you know, the older you get, as a couple, the more your methods of fighting evolve. Did you ever notice that? Like in your 20s, it's very fast-paced. It's like a dodgeball game. It's very reactive. She'll say something like, "Why were you staring at the bartender?" And you're like, "Oh, I was staring at her tattoos." "Well, the tattoos are on her chest." Like, "Oh, I didn't put them there." And in your 30s, it's like a game of Jenga. You know, you gotta balance out every word you say, or else the whole thing will fall apart. You'll be like, "So how much longer are your parents staying with us?" "Just 2 more weeks." "Well, I'm getting an Airbnb." And in your 40s, it's like a game of chess. It's very strategic. I'm the king and she's the queen. But she's not the queen by my side. She's the queen on the other side. And my job is to take her down. So first, I gotta send off the pawns. And by pawns, I mean my children. Like, they don't stand a chance. They will be sacrificed. But they will wear her down. And she's the queen. She's like the most powerful piece. She could do anything. I'm the king. I'm so vulnerable. I have one move. I'm like, "Hey, can I go out with my friends this weekend?" "Oh, you need the car. Okay, that's cool. Do you want to get busy tomorrow night, huh? Oh, you anticipate a migraine. Okay, that's fine. How much longer are your parents staying with us?" "Hey, they're moving in. Checkmate. Okay. You know what? And I can only imagine that in your 50s, it's got to be like a game of Tetris. All right, like after decades of pain, you've built a whole wall of resentment. And all you want to hear are the words, "I am so sorry." It's the perfect line-clearing piece that would make the whole wall collapse. But instead, she says all the wrong things, and you gotta shapeshift them in a positive way to stay alive. She'll say, like, "You're impossible to live with." Like, she just didn't have her morning coffee. "You're a failure." "Oh, well, you can't succeed without failing, right? Right? "I can't stand your face." "Oh, well, thankfully, I know a plastic surgeon." I don't know, man. I think if you love someone, I think the key is just like let them go. Just let if you love someone, let them go. Like Neil Armstrong would have never stepped on the moon had his wife been this nagging, possessive control freak, right? She would have said, "Where do you think you're going dressed like that?" "To the moon at this hour." "Well, if you're going, I'm going with you." "Oh, it's just the boys." "Okay. What's the matter? Do you need more space?" "No, I'm not trying to be funny, okay? Well, when are you gonna be back?" "Oh, how far could this place be?" "Ah, you've never been there before. Okay. Well, are there gonna be any pretty girls there?" "How do you know? You just said you've never been there before." "Now put the flag back on the porch." That was the best part of the joke, guys. The flag on the porch. Are you aware there's a flag on the moon? All right, that was a joke about the fake moon landing. So many ups and downs in a relationship, A year ago, I asked my wife, she was getting very distant from me, and I asked her straight up, I said, "Are you having an affair?" And she answered, "Do you think I have the time to have an affair?" Not quite the answer I was hoping for. Like a simple no would have sufficed. In other words, if it wasn't for my wife's strenuous work hours, she would love to pencil in a side piece. Apparently, her commitment to me isn't a choice, it's a result of poor time management. Do you guys ever feel like you're not enough? Do you ever get that feeling? Like you're just not enough? You get that sometimes? Yeah? Not me, sucks to be you. No, I'm kidding, man. I read an article that said that we are the average of the 5 people we hang out with. I only hang out with 3 people. My wife and 2 kids. 2/3 of my clique are broke and unemployed. They say if you want to elevate yourself, hang out with successful people, but I think it's the opposite for me. I feel really elevated when I hang around losers, Like, I don't do therapy. Like, if I feel down, I'll just go to my local Irish pub in Queens on a Tuesday at 9 a.m. After 5 minutes inside of McLaughlin's, I'll leave that place thinking, I'm enough. I think once you reach your 40s, we all have like this one friend that's really successful, who's kind of made it. Mine's called Dave. And he's a multi-millionaire. He's great. Every time I see him, I see him twice a year. Whenever I see him, I give him a huge hug. He thinks I'm being overly affectionate, but I'm just trying to absorb his success DNA. Dave owns an apartment in Paris, and he let me stay there for 10 days a couple of months ago. And he said, Danny, I just have one favor. Please, just don't walk on the carpet with your shoes on. That's all I ask. And I said, Dave, I would never leave traces of my poverty paws on your ivory pashmina rug. And I love Dave, he's cool. He brings my success average up. But then I realized, oh man, I bring his success average down. I'm Dave's Irish pub. When we part ways, he probably thinks I'm enough, When I started doing comedy, I just wanted to be famous. I did it for all the wrong reasons. I wanted women to run after me whenever they see me, Now that I'm older and wiser, I realize that I can achieve that exact same goal if I become a bus driver. I'd brag about it too. Friends would be like, yeah, man, last night at the bar, picked up 2 ladies. I'm like, oh yeah, this morning I picked up 200. They even paid me to pick them up. Yeah, but did you get their phone numbers? I'm like, bruh, I know where they live. What is success, you know? I went to this coffee shop and I saw this dude, this crazy gold chain and a huge cross. Looked successful, but did you ever notice how like the bigger the cross is, the less religious the person really is? Did you ever notice that like if the cross is tiny, you think, oh, I'm sure that person carries a pocket Bible. If it's the size of your chest, you're like, oh, I'm sure that person carries a weapon. Like the only people who wear huge crosses are gangsters and the Pope. Right? But the Pope's kind of gangster. Drives around in a bulletproof vehicle. He's got his crew of cardinals and bishops. If you say the word Pope 10 times real fast, it sounds like shots fired, like Pope, 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 Pope. My mom's Polish, very religious. We all grew up Catholic. And I asked her, I said, Ma, how come you never wore a crucifix? And she answered, did Jesus wear a cross? It's like, well, technically, the cross wore Jesus. Like, why would he wear what killed him? That's insane. That's like if you were dying of a heart disease and had a gold chain with a tiny pizza. It'd be weird. Isn't it strange how Jesus goes by his hometown, Jesus of Nazareth? You know, kind of like Jenny from the block. You guys think he's making a comeback? Like a part 2, Jesus the Revenge, right? I would love to see it, because he would have to fit in today's world. So he'd be posting pictures of his food on Instagram. Nothing too fancy, just like a loaf of bread. Hashtag MyBody. Hashtag wish we had butter. He'd have a cell phone. I would love to hear his voicemail, how you've reached Jesus. I'm not available right now, but I'm always with you. If this is an emergency, please contact my dad. AKA your father. This is confusing, Jesus. Who celebrates Christmas here? Clap if you celebrate Christmas. I just realized after all these years how weird of a holiday it is, because we celebrate Jesus' birthday, right? That's what it is, Christmas. We celebrate Jesus' birthday without Jesus. Like, did you ever go to a birthday party and the birthday person wasn't there? And you show up with a huge gift, you're like, yo, where's Tom? And they're like, yo, you didn't hear? They executed him. Because I got him a gift. It's like, I know, I got him a gift too. It's like, well, do you want to take my gift? And I take your gift. And I think that's how the whole gift exchange started, you know? We are technically regifting Jesus' gifts to this day. I'm happy to be here. It's good to be away from New York. I've been in New York for 20 years now. And it's strange. It's strange being Latino but looking white. Because whenever I see a Latino person, I want to speak to them in Spanish, but they answer in English. Like, I'm trying to connect to my roots, and they're just trying to integrate. I'm like, oh, hermano, ¿cómo estás? Like, I'm doing fine, man. I'm doing fine. Like, hablo español and I speak English, okay? And sometimes I'll really go out of my way because I really want a response in Spanish. I'll walk into a corner store, I'll be like, oye, carnal, te puedo pedir un café con leche, un sándwich, jamón y queso. And the dude will just stare at me and go, bro, I'm Indian. No entiendo. I love being in Canada. I feel like Canada's such a melting pot, you know? I feel like also my family's a reflection of that. Polish, Peruvian, married with a Japanese, Egyptian. It's quite wonderful. I feel like the States tries or pretends to be a melting pot, but it's very segregated. It truly is. You know, the US is a lot like a fridge when you think about it. As soon as you open it, there's a whole hierarchy in the fridge, right? Like on top, you got the butter. The butter represents the 1%. The butter is the only one that owns an apartment inside the fridge. Big fat tub of butter just judging everyone. Asparagus, hey broccoli, you ain't nothing without me. And every judge needs a jury, right? A dozen eggs, you know, it's like sitting comfortably in their little cushy seats. The condiments are the minorities. You know, they're all stuck together like an overcrowded jail cell in Tijuana. Excuse me, permiso, puedo pasar, gracias. Some of them have a life sentence, like relish, capers. Dijon's been there since 1984. I'm never getting out of here. I feel like the leftovers are the homeless of the fridge. You know, they sleep in a box, after a while you forget they're there, and then they start to smell funky. The raw vegetables, that's the senior citizens, are all weak and wilted. Like, put me in a soup! The fresh organic vegetables, that's Gen Z. They're so entitled. Look at me, I'm so fresh and crispy. Instagram me. Go visit your grandmother, she's gross, put her in a soup. And in back of the fridge, what do you got? Baking soda. Yeah, that's the government. That's Big Brother watching everyone. That'll flap open, I see you, I see everyone. It's been there forever and does absolutely nothing. And on top of the fridge, what do you got? You got the freezer. Yeah, that's Canada, right? The freezer takes in everything, the leftovers, the homeless, the batteries, the meat. Let's go, you're refugees now! Placenta, get in here! You guys have been beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. My name's Daniel Tirado. Be safe. Have a good night.